All that talking I did, and I'm muted. Y'all pray for me. Anyway, man, welcome back to TD Fans Talk, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. We are live again. I told y'all I would be back, but I couldn't make it back in time from the doctor's appointment. But I am back now. So we're going to pick up where we left off earlier. We want to talk about Byron Jones' future. We wanted to talk about the press conference with Chris Grier, the press conference with Tua Tagovailoa, defining what winning is with Tua, and break down a lot of the comments that were made in the press conference. That's really what it's going to be. We're going to listen to sounds of the press conference, and we're going to break it all down here on TD Fans Talk. Make sure you hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. This is officially the third stream of the day. And you guys know that they do not send the notifications out like that on the third stream, okay? Third, fourth, fifth, sixth. You know, they give you 2 a day. And after that, you know, people got to organically come through, and the like button has to be hit. How is Hillary doing? She's doing amazing. I think she's doing a devotional right now, but she's doing great. You'll see her real soon. You'll see her real soon. All right. Mara Justice, what's up? Good to see you again, TD. I only watch and listen to you. I get it, man. And I appreciate that, homie. I appreciate that, man. I got the notification. Thank you, Ronnie. You know, and I got to be honest with y'all. What happens is they typically send the notifications only to the people who are like frequent. Like, you know, a lot of people, they're in and out, pick and choose which streams they want to watch. So, you know, you have to basically gauge it that way. But hit the like button so other people know that we are live. The Fins tailgate in the building. Make sure y'all go check the homies out. Also, Miss Fins is in the building. Make sure you go subscribe to her channel as well. Black Dolphin say he got it. That's what's up, man. It's good to hear that some of y'all getting it, but trust me, everybody isn't. All right. Remember earlier today we had 477 people in here at one time. So it definitely shows you the difference. But if you hit the like button, it'll keep on coming through, all right? You and my boy Doug, yes, sir. Brothers, man, I got it. That's what's up. Hey, facts, because I listen to you and EM whenever he starts. That's what's up. I got notified. Yes. A lot of y'all got notified, but that's why I beg y'all to hit the like button, because the people that aren't in here right now, they do not know we're live. They have no clue. So remember that. They do not send the notifications out to everybody on the third stream of the day. It's usually those who frequent the most. That's typically how it tends to happen. So we'll see. We'll keep our eye out on it. But yes, hit the like button. We got 126 people in here, only 70 likes. Also, if you're on Facebook, thank you for tuning in right now. If you're on Twitter, thank you for tuning in. If you're on Twitch, thank you for tuning in. We got so many different platforms tuning in right now. So I appreciate that. All right. Smash that like button. Yeah. So anyway, I want to go ahead and get started because I don't want to keep y'all all night. I got the Twitter notification, not the YouTube. Exactly. You see, AJ Hall is here. He got the Twitter notification, but not the YouTube. That's why I also tell some of y'all, go follow me on Twitter, not for my Twitter content because I be trolling people on there, but follow me on Twitter because the notification come through every time. Every time I go live, the Twitter noti come up. So if it says TD's going live on Twitter, that means I'm live on YouTube. All right. So that's how that works. All right. But I want to hurry up and get through as much as possible because I want to take some Q&A, and maybe if time permits, I also want to go ahead and do a little round table, let some people in, see what they got to say about the team in general overall. But I want to have a good night. All right. It's weird. Twitter is legit with getting the notifications out there for sure. Yes, they do not. It never fails. All right. Anyway, let's get started. Kenneth Robinson, I see you, homie. All right. Here we go. First and foremost, I want to quickly talk about Byron Jones' future with the organization. First of all, how many people think that Byron Jones has lived up to his contract? Has Byron Jones lived up to his contract? Yes or no in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And I'll wait on some responses. Byron lived up to contract so far. So I'm actually going to do it like this. I'd rather do it like this so I don't have to estimate what y'all are saying. I just put it in the poll. Answer it in the poll. Shout out to the homie Try Hard with the donation. Hey, man, everybody who donates, I appreciate the love and support. Appreciate you, Try Hard. He said, going to my first Miami home game this season, torn between the Bills or Browns matchup. What you think? I would say go to the Browns. You may have less anxiety. Hopefully. The Bills, I couldn't go to a Bills game. It'd be too nerve-wracking for me because I'd be so teed off if we lost. And if it's tight and we can win, I'd be too nerve-wracked. I don't know if I can make it out of there. All right, so that's my take on it. So type it in the comment section. Do you think Byron Jones has lived up to his contract? We got 65 votes, and so far, wow, I'm shocked at the result. So far, we got 72% yes and 28% no. I thought a lot more people would say no, and I'd be shocked by it pretty much. I agree. Byron Jones has lived up to his contract. Now, has he exceeded it? No, but he's lived up to it, in my opinion. And you know the sad thing about it is I think people didn't like Byron Jones much because he was getting paid more than their beloved Xavier Howard. And now that he's not, people will probably ease off of that hate, which is weird to me. It's just so crazy how much of a homer people can be for our team. It's like people being homers about the fact that, I mean, they really did not like the fact that he was getting paid more than Xavier Howard. It truly was ripping them apart. They were not happy about it at all. To where they made this man seem like a worse corner than he is when he ain't at all. The one thing I want to say about Byron Jones is this is the last year of his real guaranteed money deal. But after this year, the team has some really tough decisions to make. The team has some really tough decisions to make because in order to continue to maintain affording this offense, there's going to have to be some turnover in some areas. You know, Christian Wilkins has to get paid. You know, there's things that have to happen. And I wanted to talk about Byron Jones because I feel like he's the essence of the defense. We've always had X. We've had X without Byron and with Byron. We know what X can do, but not until we got Byron did we understand the full vision of what we were trying to accomplish on defense, in which we accomplished twice, but only for half a season each time. A little more than a half, but still. A lot of it due to injuries that the cornerbacks were sustaining. And I think that overall, this defense is going to need Byron long-term unless they can find a replacement that's a guaranteed replacement. They need to find a replacement that's a guaranteed replacement. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen this year in the draft because you don't have any assets that can guarantee that. You just don't. Now, there's a lot of ex-critics. Everybody thinks that the cornerback position is all about interceptions. And it's just not. It's about your name not being called. It's about not getting targeted because you're always on your man. And one thing I could tell you after evaluating Xavier Howard's film, and I've been doing a lot of that the last few days, I've been looking at X's film thoroughly. This guy is so much better than people realize. He's always with his guy. And some people will say, yeah, but he gives up a high completion percentage. Go look at the film. 3rd and 17, he gives up a 9-yard pass, and that's schematically what he wants to do and come up and make the tackle and force a punt. 3rd and 10, he gives up a 6-yard pass, makes the tackle, forces a punt. 85% of what Byron Jones gives up is what he's giving up intentionally to force the punt. Playing the sticks, keeping it underneath. If you catch it, you're tackled right away. Very rarely is he beat on a crossing route. And when he does, everybody screams to the highest heavens, oh my gosh, Byron just got beat. Yeah, like every corner. And the interesting thing is this. X gets beat on big plays way more than Byron. Xavier Howard gets beat on big plays way more than Byron. X actually doesn't take the approach, catch it and let me tackle you right away. X gets the picks. X has become a phenomenal corner. But as far as the big plays, he actually gives up more than Byron. He also gets more penalties than Byron. And these are all facts. It's not to hate because Xavier Howard has proven to be the better cornerback. Without Byron Jones, he's still a Pro Bowl level cornerback. And with Byron Jones, I feel like he's an all-pro level cornerback. As of right now, Xavier Howard is the better cornerback overall. But I don't know why we couldn't acknowledge that without defaming Byron Jones for the last 2 years. But he is so valuable. I see so many quarterbacks hike the ball, look his way, stare it down, and just can't go there and have to look somewhere else, and he gets sacked, pressured. Another thing Byron Jones does very well that goes underrated is his corner blitzes. He creates a lot of pressure when they dial up a corner blitz by him. And there's a reason for that, because they don't dial up corner blitzes for X. Byron has the length and the wingspan that puts him on that next level. And this is where I get nervous for the Dolphins, because that's $16.5 million a year. First of all, X's new contract basically made Byron's contract very friendly. But are we going to move off of it next year? Are we going to look at that contract and say, yeah, we don't want to do another 16.5, when technically with his level of play, if he maintains the same level of play, I'm not talking about improvement or anything, just the same level of play, that would still be a good deal. But it still gets tricky, because in order to long-term afford this offense, something's going to have to shake somewhere on this team, and I believe it's going to be defense. I don't think that they will take anything from offense for a while. And that's where it gets scary, because the only way that you can justify moving on from a Byron Jones contract next year, which I feel like they'll do either way, but our offense literally has to put up at least another 10 points a game. Because without Byron Jones, if you don't find that guy that can do what he does, our defense is going to bleed, and we're going to be sitting there saying, it's not our offense fault our defense can't stop anyone. Well, technically, indirectly, it is, because we had to put so much on the offense to be able to afford it. So I'm hoping that we keep Byron this year for sure. I think that'll happen. He balls out and they keep him next year. And at the end of the day, if we win it all, which we'll talk more about that in this stream, don't be like the rest of these teams and don't run it back with the same unit or get better with it. Hate when teams do that. If you won the Super Bowl or championship, run it back. So I'm a little concerned about Byron's future, and because I feel like he's so important for this defense to be able to do what it does, because I feel like without Byron in that level of play, we'd be running a whole lot more zone coverage. And if you're a Miami Dolphin fan and you've been watching these Sunday streams on game day, you already know how I feel about this team running zone coverage. It's just something we do not do well. It's just something that we just don't do well at all. It takes us back to our Matt Burke days, and it didn't get any better with the personnel coming in, with the good personnel. We don't do it well. So I wanted to bring that up because I want y'all to keep that in mind as time goes on this season and next off season, the decisions that are being made. I want you to pay attention to his importance this year when we're watching the games. I want you to look at how the defense is able to do the things that they're doing in large part because of the level of play. And if we can get lucky, maybe if we're winning, they can possibly restructure the deal and bring his annual down to maybe a team-friendly 13, but give him more guaranteed money. We got to figure out ways to be able to keep the nucleus together, but we also have to win if we're going to do that. And that's going to be important, winning. All right? Speaking of winning, I want to go ahead and play some of the clip of Chris Grier's presser. We'll be playing it, and we'll also be commenting on it. So let me know. I'm gonna test this out real quick because I have my backup mic hooked up to the audio, and I want to see if you all can hear Chris Grier clear. Okay, I'm gonna play him right now. Put a yes or no in the comment section if you can hear Chris Grier clear.
Been very good to us and spent some time with those guys. So very excited to see them. I'm off to a great start, and then looking forward to the Panthers with their run here. They spent some time here this summer as well, and it's great to see those guys, the work they've put in, obviously my brother's with the Rangers, so I'll root for
Thank
them,
y'all.
except for against the Rangers. But I wish them a lot of luck too as well. And the Marlins are off to a great start. Good young team. Watched them a couple
Shout
times.
out to Chris
here,
Grier
so
for giving South Florida a shout out.
Sports and good luck to Inter Miami. And I think they're like third round versus like the B team or whatever in North American soccer. So it's a good time to be a South Florida sports fan.
So, yeah, good luck to the Rangers as well. Rangers and Panthers.
Yes.
So
No, Red Sox.
So Tyreek Hill is sort of your first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Do you psychologically think of it that way? And how do you think his skill set compares to, for example, some of the first round receivers?
Wow, what is this mess? Yeah, give me a second. Like the video. Yes, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Punch that like button.
So we put together a chart of the top 20 marketing of this
Here we go.
In recent years.
Yeah, no, like we were trying to figure out what we were going to do on draft day, and one of the guys said, he goes, well, just watch Tyreek highlights, in the draft room and make us feel good. But, it's unfair to compare any of those kids to Tyreek's skill set, coming out. He's such a unique talent. And even yesterday on the field, he made a play and went down and they popped up, like no hands, like flipped up right off the ground. And we're just like, look at this guy. He's just so explosive and springy. And just the way he works out in practice, his work ethic's unbelievable. So, again, it's a talented class of receivers. But, obviously you can't compare them to Tyreek at all. And for what he does and what we feel he does in this offense and what a great fit he is.
Chris, for this specific kind of draft cycle, obviously a couple weeks ago you shipped off a lot of your picks. Since then, have you found yourself kind of changing the process at all in terms of maybe how many guys are sending out to pro days and whatnot? And big picture, there's been a lot of talk about the Rams kind of changing their scouting process and the information that they're relying on. How have you seen your scouting department's kind of overall process kind of change over the years?
Yeah, we haven't changed our process because I think you end up shortchanging, the organization if you do that. Because at the end of the day, you never know when opportunities arise, to do something, whether, make a move or not, or if a player falls, you think there's a chance to go get them. So you have to work through your process and be ready to answer all questions. And at the end of the day, you never know. This could be a trade a year or two on a player. And if you haven't done your work and you've, just because you don't pick till 102, it can end up hurting you when you don't have all the information, if those opportunities arise. So for us, we had guys were out all pro days. Coaches are out. Coaches are doing private workouts. They still have some private workouts going on here over the next week or so. So for us, it's been full steam ahead. The personnel staff has done a tremendous job, and the coaching staff, Mike and the coaching staff, these guys enjoy getting out, getting to meet players, bringing them in. So the private workout stuff it's been exciting, and I think the coaches really enjoy getting to know these players too as well.
If no center is drafted in the third or fourth round, someone that you feel can legitimately compete with Michael, would you at that point sign a veteran center? Not to get into any names, but if you could shed some light on the thinking with that, do you want to go through the draft before deciding whether to sign a veteran center as competition or depth?
Yeah, I think, like we've always shown, we'll always keep looking at players, Barry. We'll keep digging and going through once the draft's over. But I think we also have an opportunity post-draft to add a lot of players through the undrafted college free agency too. So there'll be some players that always fall through the cracks. They don't get drafted. And we've spent a lot of time, the coaching staff and the scouts have been a tremendous amount of time and effort to really study the back end of the draft as we should. And so we've spent a lot of time trying to identify players at all positions across there. But at the end of the day, we'll still, like we've always had, we've added players every year, over the summer, and we'll keep doing that.
Kind of conventional business, this might not be as top-heavy is not the right word, but having the same number of elite players, prospects as in years past. Do you agree with that? Has that kind of shaped your opinion as to why you've traded out a lot of your picks from this year?
It's always difficult because, everything's a projection. So, people always say that. Then you look back at some drafts and you're like, wow, look at those, 12 of those first round picks are, guys are maybe, Pro Bowlers every year and Hall of Fame guys in the future. So every draft has their strengths and weaknesses by position. So I think, for us trading those picks really had nothing to do with how the draft looked. It was the opportunity to acquire, Tyreek Hill, just a special talent for what we were looking for. So at the end of the day,
fair use.
Every draft will be judged 3 years from now. How it looks.
Yep, you on the clock for 2019,
not strong,
or 2020, whatever year.
I think you really got to give these kids 3 years to really develop and see where everything stands.
It's interesting. He says that. So book it, ladies and gentlemen. Write it down. Our organization's philosophy is you really got to get these kids 3 years to see where they stand. So it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is why it's not likely to go get another starting caliber offensive lineman, because you got too many linemen on the roster right now. And you got to give those guys a fair 3-year chance. And you got too many to try to bring another guy in that's starter capable, because now you got all those draft assets sitting on the bench, not playing to see if they can be the guy. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. 3 years is the evaluation period, obviously, for the Miami Dolphins. Chris Grier is telling you that right now.
Was it assess the strength and the weaknesses already in this draft?
Yeah, I would say the offensive line group, it's a pretty good offensive line group. I think there's some talent all the way through from the tackles, the guards, centers, all the way into the mid rounds. I think you can find some good quality players. Like everything, everyone's always looking for, the pass rush.
There you have it. He just told you they'll probably try to find something in the mid rounds. He feels like the draft is loaded on the offensive line, whether it's tackle, guard, center, and you can find some good quality in there in the mid rounds. So your number 3 overall pick, look forward to potentially be an offensive lineman. Look forward to potentially be an offensive lineman. And doesn't mean they're going to be a starter, though. 9 times out of 10, it'll be a guy that they want to develop. And if he come to camp balling, hey, best man wins the job.
I think there are some high-level rushers in this draft. And then, at the end of the day, then there'll be some projection guys that have some upside to work with. So I would say the big offensive line, to me, I think is the one real strong position in this draft.
Chris, was it a concerted effort on your end to hang on to those first rounders next year when putting together the Tyreek trade?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It was important for us to keep those 2 picks because we had done so much to acquire those before. So I think, for us, when you make a move for Tyreek like that, you also want to be prepared to have picks for the future. And having those 2 picks and then picking up the pick for Devontae, another third, gives us, 5 picks in the first 3 rounds with 2 1s and 2 3s. So we feel good about that heading into next year, into 2023.
What you guys were able to accomplish in free agency and what you looks like in the draft, do you think you've given Tua pieces around him to succeed maybe in a way that wasn't the case the past couple of years?
Yeah, I think a lot of that too is it has to do with Coach McDaniel and his coaching staff. Kind of the offense that Mike does and what he's building here and what his philosophy's been. I think yes, we've added some pieces on offense as well, but a lot of it fits what Mike's looking for too, and I think, a lot of it does fit what Tua does well, and I think we're all very excited. And I know Mike has been raving about Tua here over him and Coach Bevel, their time working with him and spending time with him in the meeting rooms and watching him on the field here yesterday. So we're very excited for him and then looking forward to the season, how he keeps progressing.
So first indication, Mike McDaniel and Bevel, they've gotten their hands on Tua. They're in the room with Tua. They've been raving about Tua. We all know the only thing that matters with Tua Tagovailoa is what we see on the field. And they like what they saw from the voluntary mini camp that they just had. And that's a good start. I like that, the fact that they're already giving him an early endorsement and they're communicating that with the general manager. But at the end of the day, it's all going to still need to translate on the field, because we're going to talk about some more of this stuff and some of my concerns and some of the positives that I heard today as well that make me encouraged. All right.
Like, as we sit and stand here now, does it feel unlikely that the Dolphins would be looking to aggressively move back into the first round of this year's draft?
Yeah, like I said, we'll always listen. If there's an opportunity, if there's a guy that we think is a special talent that is falling or something, that we'll look into it. But, I wouldn't say never. But, we'll always keep looking and investigating everything.
Like they're doing Debo right now.
How much hesitation was there when trading into a team within the division? And also the idea of picking up the pick next year as opposed to this year, was that preference or the way?
Yeah, I think more you've seen over the last couple of years, more teams doing interdivisional trades, which before when I first started and here, you'd never do that. I think the last time, we did it was with our current receiver coach, which didn't turn out well for us then. But I think
all over the country, we are losing our communities to gentrification. All over the country.
Oh, Lord.
When you have the opportunity to do right by the player and the organization, both sides feel good about it. Like I said, this was never anything where we planned to trade Devontae. Once we made the trade for Tyreek, we received multiple phone calls, and I think most teams assumed that, we had signed Cedric Wilson, traded for Tyreek, that, and had obviously with Waddle here that Devontae was the guy that would be available. So multiple teams called. The Patriots were the most aggressive. And at the end of the day, worked with the agent, talked to Devontae, want to do right by him too as well. But getting that third round pick was very important for us. And we are fine if it was this year or next year. So
that's interesting to hear that too, because the plan was to keep Devontae Parker, but everybody was calling about him, and everybody's can get traded for the right price. And that means that they made a decision. We're going to keep Devontae Parker, but if you want to give away a third round pick, now we're talking. And it came down to that the Patriots were overly aggressive and they gave up that third. So that's the only reason it worked. But that also makes me realize, because other teams made assumptions that a guy would be available, but based off of what Chris Grier is saying, he was a part of the plan. Which means if he was a part of the plan, do not be shocked if they go get another receiver. It's not far-fetched. That's what I'm hearing out of this. And it's also interesting, he said it didn't matter if it was this year or next year, and that feels good because that kind of tells you they aren't just hoarding for a backup plan next year.
You talked about the excitement of this process. As a GM, is there anything maybe that stands out to you or something that's like a favorite for you in this process, or is it all business?
It's just all business. It's beast. As you guys know, I said I appreciate the job you guys do, and I don't take anything personal, and I don't read stuff purposely because I enjoy the communication we all have, and I don't want to walk in here and be mad at you guys and like I'm not answering that guy's question so for me it's just business as usual, and I'll be excited if we ever win a Super Bowl here. That'll be my excitement.
If we need some optimism, Chris Grier. When we
you go into a draft, are you more inclined to just go for needs? You can gamble more? I mean, even though you have less picks, you can gamble more with the picks?
No, I think when you have those few picks as we do, I think you got to be right on them. And so I think you got to be very deliberate and measured of what the roster and what that guy's role on the roster is going to be and how he fits. So obviously there'll be an occasion where if that special guy is there to take that risk on something, you will. But I think when, you're picking third, fourth round and then 2 in the 7th, you got to kind of make sure what you're getting and who it is and how he's going to fit on the team.
You talked about Tua earlier. It was a shift from previously shopping around for a top quarterback to now putting a firm commitment into Tua. What led to that shift?
No, I think as we finished the season here and going, as we were moving here and we were moving on to the coaching search, I think at the end of the day, we just decided, as we were talking to each candidates, they were just talking about how much they had studied Tua and what they liked about him, and all of them felt excited and wanted to work with him, felt that they could win with him. So I think as you go through those process, those interviews, you kind of know if someone is kind of just saying what you want to hear just because they want a head coaching job, or the level of detail when they talk about things and their history and the research they've done showed that they were truly, really believed in them, as we do. And so it was an exciting time. And then, once we hired Mike, it was just full steam ahead.
Translation, man. Translation. See, he think he's slick. So basically, Chris Grier is basically telling you this. When we went through the interview process, everybody we interviewed believed that they could win with Tua. Which my rebuttal would be, of course they do. Of course they believe that. Because they want the job. But he gets out ahead of that and says, and you kind of know if somebody's just telling you that because they want the job or not. Obviously, you don't know. But anyway. But he does back it up with a compelling line here that says they actually brought, with what they do and how he could basically work. They brought, how it would work for him, right? And now that basically tells you why Mike McDaniel got hired. Because what Mike McDaniel is going to bring to Miami is the most Tua-friendly system. But it is still difficult. It truly is the most Tua-friendly system. And we're going to talk about that last when we listen to Tua's press conference, because we'll break that down. Because Mike McDaniel, they keep telling y'all, I don't know why people keep thinking about all this stretch the field and all of this crap. I told y'all that last year wasn't going to happen. Oh, we're going to stretch the field. We're not stretching the field with Tua Tagovailoa. We're not stretching the field with this speed, ladies and gentlemen. We are, for the people in the back, we did not bring the speed in to stretch the field. They don't believe that's his strong suit. So they are not going to do that, which is smart. Don't do nothing that ain't his strong suit. Just do what he does well and go get better players that can do more with that. And that's what they're doing. They are not stretching the field. And you'll hear more of that whenever we listen to Tua's press conference of the details of what they mean when they say that, all right? Shout out to the homie EM. I see you just came in the building.
Chris, I don't know if you saw, but after the Super Bowl, Rams GM Leslie had the custom pick shirt after that, and there's been some memes with you having that as well. I'm curious what your thoughts about that, and maybe the trend of trading picks all in for.
Well, I said my kids have told me there's been a lot of memes on me, both good and bad. So, I think Les, deserves credit for how they've done it. They won a Super Bowl, known Les for a long time, and he has a very unique way of looking at things, and it's paid off. So I still believe in building through the draft. I think the draft's an important part of building your team and having young assets to work through, but we've shown that we'll always be aggressive, if it comes to acquiring a good player, or at least attempting to, and we've done that. So I would say that, for us, the ability to get good players and where we were as young as we are on this roster right now, and knowing that we had the 2 first-round picks in 2023 enabled us to, be aggressive and make a move like that.
True.
And we had talked to a number of teams about a number of players. So we were being very aggressive, across the league trying to find players. And Tyreek was not one that ever thought would happen. And, a lot of credit to Brett Veach and Coach Reed. Working with them was great. And I'm sure they were frustrated with us at times, and we were frustrated with them, but it ended up working out well.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right. Thanks.
All right, so that is Chris Grier giving us the scoop on everything. It's not really much more to talk about in that regards. I want to pull up Tua's presser because that's the one that I want to break down even more. Some very good information that was produced in that presser.
So what's it like throwing at Tyreek Hill?
It's fun. You catch glimpses of his speed, and you obviously have played against him, seen him play in other games, seen his highlights as well. And he's explosive. He can turn a negative 2-yard swing route into the 20-yard touchdown or a 20-yard gain. So it's pretty cool. It's exciting.
Evidence number 1, he can turn a negative 2-yard screen pass into a 20-yard gain or touchdown, whatever.
Do you feel a renewed sense of the franchise backing you this offseason after there were so many trade rumors swirling in the past?
Well, I think it's, I don't know. I just feel like there's so much things that have happened, a lot of changes, and a lot of good changes, I guess, with the people that we've picked up, the guys that we've acquired as well. Just the locker room feels different. And we're all excited. This is the first time I've seen, a lot of, guys show up to phase 1 of OTAs, and a lot of veterans are showing up to it. I think that speaks a lot to, Mike and the relationship that he has with a lot of the guys on the team, and the amount of respect that he has from the players in the locker room.
So there's a school of.
So first off, he didn't answer the question. The question was about the confidence the Dolphins have in him. Basically, do you feel like that's a vote of confidence that you're basically like you're the guy? And he really didn't answer it. He just said a lot has happened. I think Tua's over this whole situation. And let me tell you why I don't think he can feel like, oh, yeah, they got a vote of confidence in me now. You don't think he ain't been hearing about the Brady stuff? Every chance they've gotten in the last 2 years to replace this man, they've been in the mix. Hey, what's that over there? And I know he feels that. I know he hears about the Brady rumors. I know he feel like, man, if I don't get it done this year, Brady might be here next year. You think he don't hear all of this stuff? Every news outlet, FS1, ESPN, Pat McCaffrey or whatever. So Brady was about to make a great escape to my. You don't think he hears all this stuff? He's still hearing it. I mean, Tua ain't no idiot. So I think I think for him, he's over it, and he's just gonna focus being the best version that he can. And I'm telling y'all now, no matter how it goes for Tua, good, bad, whatever, you got to be worried about it. This man still want to play for this franchise in 2 years if he does become that dude. Think about that. Everybody oblivious to it right now. Don't care to even think about it. But everything that they already put this man through and how they've treated him, something to think about.
This is the Dolphins added quality receiver on the offensive line at running back, and now it puts more pressure on you. Not just pressure. We know you had pressure all along, but more pressure on you. How do you respond?
Well, I think pressure is going to be there every time. I don't feel more pressured that we've acquired all these guys, but it's more of an opportunity that I get, that we all get as a team to show what we can do this year.
I agree with his answer too. Like when you really think of it, it shouldn't be more pressure. And he says that it's an opportunity because you bring those guys in to relieve the pressure, if anything, right? So I think we all use the word, Tua's going to be under more pressure than he's ever been this year because it's kind of like an ultimatum year. But if you really pay attention to his temperament and how he always have been, I'm going to dispel the pressure notion because I think that he's still just going to do his very best. Kids like people like Tua, they don't feel pressure like everybody make it out to be. I don't think he was affected by the Deshaun Watson stuff. I don't think he was affected about any of that stuff as far as his play on the field. Everybody wanted to make it seem like it did to justify his play on the field. But I don't think it affected his play on the field. It may have affected him as a person and questioning himself. But when he goes on the field on Sunday, Tua's the type of person that is going to do the best that he can do regardless. I don't think Tua's the type of guy, oh, if I don't make this throw, it messes it up. I just don't. So I agree with him. It's not really pressure. It's an opportunity. And if you don't meet the opportunity, it is what it is. You know, so that's my thoughts on it, on what he said.
And your primary focus in your training this offseason?
Well, towards the scheme of this offense, I've been kind of switching up my footwork and working on different footwork and drills as well. So
I have to pause right there. He said, toward in regards to the scheme of this offense, he's been really working on his footwork. The reason why a quarterback would say they'd be working on their footwork, that means that based off of what he's been doing in the past, they expect the ball to come out at different stages than he's used to. So that could be quicker, that could be longer. Instead of a 5-step drop, it might be 3. It might, you see what I mean? So he has to work on that and being able to, hey, I'm used to doing a 5-step, 1, 2, 3, and being able to shift his body to make the throws necessary. So I don't know what it is, but it has something to do with when he will be expected to be releasing the ball. So that's good though, because the basic fundamentals like that mean everything, y'all. We talked about it a lot last year on film. He never sets his feet or this and that because some of the plays were unorthodox of when he had to get rid of the ball. So I love hearing that. By the way, I haven't heard this whole interview, but I loved hearing that just now. That's an important piece to a quarterback's game, especially whenever you run a scheme where you're probably going to be getting the ball out. And it sounds like a lot of timing is happening too.
That's really been it. Normal lift, condition, get in shape. But other than that, the point of emphasis has really been my footwork.
I know it's just the third of the week you started minicamp, but what do you like about this offense? And I believe that you did kind of operate a similar offense with Steve Sarkisian in Alabama, but what do you personally like about this offense?
Well, we've only had 2 days of really, kind of getting into the offense, so there's not much installed within the run action, play passes that we have. But it's very similar to what I've ran at Alabama, which in a sense makes it a little easier as far as verbiage and whatnot. But that's still a challenge. Is kind of learning the verbiage, learning where everyone's going. Hearing, Mike or hearing Frank or whoever it is, in the headset, trying to give the call and then recalling it to the offense. That's still something that got to continue to get better at.
So how do I break this down? What he just said was very vital. And here's your bread and butter, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you like Tua, you don't like Tua, whatever. If you want to win, what he just talked about is everything. This is your bread and butter. Just learning the offense. He said it's familiar from what they ran at Alabama. Familiar ain't the same thing. But it's familiar, which makes it easier, which means that he's used to some of the stuff that he's seeing. But if you looked at his face during it and the way he was explaining it with the grimaces and stuff like that, it shows you, like he said, that continues to be the thing. I just gotta, keep working on it, get better at it. He got to learn the playbook. It's that simple. He said, it's only been 2 days in it, but just getting the call, calling the play, and, you know, remembering where everybody is going to be and, you know, and what the routes are pretty much and all of that. This is the bread and butter right here, ladies and gentlemen. Right now is where Tua wins his job. What he does between now and training camp is where that's it. Where he is right now, between right now and training camp, that's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. He got a lot of work to do. He got to learn the playbook, know where the routes are, know where people are going to be. It's a similar offense, but it ain't the same. And in similar, it's a similar concept, not the same plays. So I know I heard a lot of people earlier, you know, say things like, well, he got to learn how to read the defense too. See, y'all already trying to go to advanced placement. First come, first serve. And the first come, first serve is learning the playbook. Who cares what the defense doing? You don't even know what your own team doing. Y'all worrying about, oh, well, he got to learn how to read a defense. Let me tell y'all something. The next 3 months ain't going to be nothing but hold on. May, June. The next 2 months, 2.5 months, ain't going to be nothing but him learning the playbook. He ain't going to be worried about no defenses. He is not going to be worried about no defenses. He is only going to be focused on remembering the plays in the playbook. Y'all think it's a case of, oh, this is that play? Now let me learn what they can do against that play. No, he's just going to be focused on the playbook. He ain't going to care one bit about defenses. When he go out and work with receivers, they're going to be working 7-on. They're going to be having guys running their routes. Daddy, yes? I watch TV. Go let mommy know, okay? But mom said you to make a mess. That means she said no. I want to watch TV. You want to watch TV, Cammy? Do you know what time it is? 3. No, it's 9:19. Did mommy put you to bed? Did mommy put you to bed? No. Go ask mommy if she wants you to go to bed. Okay? I don't want to. I know you don't want to, but you have to, Cammy. You can't do this every night. Bedtime is at 7 o'clock, Cammy. It's 7. It's 9. It's 2 hours after 7. It's 1 hour? 2. It's time to go to bed. Go get in your bed and put your blanket on, okay? Don't owe me. It ain't funny. Good night. Every night. And then when I'm done with this stream at 11, he gonna be in my bed, sleep next to his mama. Bro, TD, you still hating on Tua, bro? No, not at all. I'm talking about our quarterback, what he's gonna need to do and how he can get to that next level. But back to what I was saying, y'all. That's all he's gonna be focused on is actually learning the playbook. Okay, that's it. The defense and all of that, that's going to have to come in practice. But I also want to say this, the offense is going to be a situation where it's going to be a lot of wide open stuff anyway, based off of the scheme. But like he said, y'all remember this, man. It's very key. You know, just got to learn the offense, remember everything that's being said, all right? All right. Salute to you, Bentley, for subscribing. All right, man, let's keep it going.
What's your relationship with Mike been like over the past couple months?
Relationship with Mike.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the videos of him at the luau. I think that speaks a lot. You know, that's kind of how the relationship has been. You know, very supportive. You know, wants to hang out. You know, I go up there to his office, tell him, you know, I got a couple of guys coming over to hang out, and he feels bad, you know, that he didn't get an invite to come over and hang out. So, you know, it's been a really cool relationship. It's been different, but it's been super cool.
So I like that about Mike. Again, he's a player's coach. He bonds with them. He's really a friend. I know a lot of people ask those type of questions. I ask them myself. When it's time to have a tough conversation, how is that received? But hopefully his coaching is so great that he never even has to worry about that too. Those are elements as well. Tua said it's been different. You know, he didn't have this relationship with Flores. Flores was more Bill Belichickian. So this is definitely a breath of fresh air and a different dynamic that I know fits Tua's personality much greater. Tua's not the type of person where you can get all up in him to get a change in results. He's the type of person where you just got to continue to work with him and teach him, and it doesn't take all of that, you know, aggressiveness and things like that to help him be better. So I think this is a perfect relationship for the two. Also earlier he said something like, you know, it was a testament to Mike McDaniel to get so many veterans at the voluntary thing. I kind of kicked back on that because somebody said that to me earlier today. They said, "Oh, Flores couldn't get veterans. He ain't get none of the veterans to show up." Well, it was COVID, ladies and gentlemen. In COVID, they weren't allowed to. Only the rookies were able to come in, or only the year 1 and year 2 players were allowed in the building during those times when COVID first hit. So I know people have been tweeting all day. Oh, Tua said that, you know, he got all the veterans there, and, you know, that's something that Tua's not used to. And they tried to flip it as if because Tua did say that's a testament of Mike, but COVID didn't allow the veterans to come in during that period for the last two. So just FYI. Ari said, "I'm sorry, but at what point do you think we will have a QB and not a developmental project?" Well, I mean, if you want to be honest, you know, 80% of all quarterbacks are developmental projects. Some are further along than others. As far as using the term developmental project with Tua, I think that's a fair term to use at this point because he did not come into this league like as advertised that day one he was going to basically perform like Herbert did, you know, or day 2 he would perform like Burrow. None of that happened. So to say developmental project, that's fair. But at the same token, I always felt like Tua as a developmental project in the right system was not a liability that it would work out. Let me give you an example of what I mean. I'm scared for Tua for the simple reason of if he would have had this system 2 years ago, we would have been all ready to rock and roll right now. The kid would have been blossoming last year at the end of the year, showing us year 3 about to be for real. But now we got it once again for a kinesthetic learner, a new offense, which he, first of all, he going to spend all off season trying to remember the playbook. See, this is what you got his rookie year that some of y'all don't realize. Even his sophomore year, this is what you got. A guy who went to learn the playbook, couldn't comprehend it all, couldn't retain it all. Let me say that. I'm not going to say comprehend. He can comprehend, but he couldn't retain because he didn't do every play enough to remember everything. Because he's kinesthetic. That's why in his rookie season, he admitted, and I love his honesty. I've always loved his honesty. He admitted, sometimes I come to the line of scrimmage, I know that this play won't work against this defense, but I didn't know the playbook well enough to put us in a better situation. Because he couldn't retain everything. Everybody made excuses for that, and then Chan Gailey shut you up again and said, yeah, there's 2 different playbooks. Tua will get it eventually. It's just a matter of when. People made excuses for that, and then both offensive coordinators last year shut you up and said the number one focus for Tua this offseason is playbook retention. I mean, how many people got to tell you? Tua told you himself, Gailey told you, and both new 2 offensive coordinators both said the number one focus for Tua this year is offensive playbook retention. Playbook retention. Truth be told, it took him 2 years to learn the playbook last year, and truth be told, that playbook was 25% of what the real playbook probably was. We kept running the same plays over and over. They even condensed that playbook. They smushed that down to small packages. So my huge concern is him learning the playbook this year. Because if you go back to the interview and listen to what he just said and look at the grimace on his face, he said, you know, the main thing, like it's always been, he said the main thing is just learning it. Learning it. Let me see if I can get it again.
That's still something that got to continue to get better at. Is kind of learning the verbiage, learning where everyone's going, you know, hearing, you know, Mike or hearing Frank or whoever it is, you know.
Learning the verbiage, learning where everyone's going, the play. Hearing Mike, what the play he gives me.
In the headset, you know, trying to give the call. And then
Give the call to the players.
That's still something that got to continue to get better at.
That's still something I got to continue to get better at. It's all you need to hear. So that's the real thing. All these people want to go to the next level. He got to learn how to read defenses. Stop. Stop. He only going to focus on the playbook. And Mike and them know that. Mike and them know I'm not finna have him worried about this and that. We'll worry about that next year. Hopefully we get to that point or the year after. You got to learn the playbook. And it's not going to be easy, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, what I just heard him tell me is they gave him calls in the last 2 days. He was trying to remember them. That's something he got to continue to work on. He can't even learn the verbiage, and they want us to learn 80 some odd pronouns. Well, the verbiage is, that'll come. He'll get the verbiage. He will get the verbiage. I mean, I give him 3 weeks and he'll have the verbiage. But that playbook, y'all, see, is one thing. I can learn a play right now. But if I don't execute it in 3 weeks, it's gone. It's gone. I gotta execute it. I gotta have receivers. I gotta have all of that. If I'm just learning and looking at it, he's not a read right guy. He's a kinesthetic guy. He actually needs to do it. He actually needs people running the routes that they're supposed to run. He gotta see it to retain it. He's just like me. I'm kinesthetic. That's how it works. You can't just show me film and I remember what the play is. You can't just give me the playbook and I look at it and remember what it is. He's kinesthetic. He's the type of guy I got to go out there and do it a few times. Then I got to get cocky with it and say, oh, I'm going to look you off now. And cut me, you know, he's kinesthetic. That's how that works. Ari said, it seems Tua's teachers were switching D's to A's. Oh, man. Y'all stop, man. Cut the guy some slack. Let's keep it going.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the videos of him at the luau. I think that speaks a lot. You know, that's kind of how the relationship has been. Didn't get an invite to come over.
Mean to you from your coach?
Well, I think support for any of us as players means a lot.
Yep.
We understand that, you know, the NFL, it's a tough, you know, industry. It's tough to play because you're playing against the best every Sunday. But to be able to have support of the head coach, the head guy, I mean, that should tell you a lot.
Cole, he's my miracle.
Another commercial. Give me a second.
So how does your miracle?
How much work do you feel like you've put into becoming a better leader and having more of a leadership presence on this team?
Yeah, I think the cool thing about being, you know, on this team under Mike is Mike doesn't force you to be what you're not or what you don't want to be. If, you know, this is how you lead, that's all he wants you to do is lead the way you lead. He doesn't want anyone to, you know, poo that guy to the side, you know, tell him how bad his route was and whatnot and, you know, come back to the huddle. It's more like, hey, you know, go talk to the guy, you know, tell him what your thoughts are. He'll tell you what your thoughts are. You guys meet in the middle, and, you know, that's what that is. And so for me, I'm not a guy to go, you know, screaming at the defense if they bust the coverage and we're trying to, you know, get some work. You know, I'm just one that after all of that, when our set is done, I'll go over and, you kind of talk to them like, hey, we really need you guys to help us on this because, if you guys don't give us the looks, then, we're not going to be able to execute that right in the game. So
that's interesting. He said that, and this is a direct correlation of the difference between Flores and Mike McDaniel. That's why McDaniel is more passive himself as an individual. Plus, he has a more passive approach. Tua basically just explained to you, Flores is just used to seeing dog mentality at the quarterback position. So if someone screw up around you, Tua, go get in his behind. Demand greatness around you. And a lot of us like that. A lot of us subscribe to that. I prefer that, but my preference doesn't supersede what you got. You got what you got. Just because somebody does it the way that you would prefer doesn't mean they aren't capable of still leading. And that's what Tua is basically saying. Mike isn't like that. Mike is like, maybe you can have a conversation and, you collaboratively, talk about what happened. It's more passive. See, and that's the difference. And people said that, this is the new league we're in. You got to nurture these kids because this is a new generation. It ain't what it used to be. Some guys are still like that, but it's phasing out. Let's just be honest. It's phasing out. The days of your mess up, you get chastised for it, are coming to an end. Those days are coming to an end where you scared to make a mistake. The days of, if I make a mistake, it's cool. We'll talk about it. I'll try to be better next time. Those days are ushering themselves in. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But that's kind of how it works. It's more collaborative effort instead of dictating what's going to happen. So, and Tua said the thing he likes about Mike is he's not making you be anything that you're not. And Tua's saying, I'm not that kind of guy that's going to be all up in somebody behind. No, I'm not. I'm the type of guy, you messed up. Hey, man, you messed up on this. What did you see? Oh, okay, I saw this. So, and then you work it out. And nothing's wrong with that approach. Nothing's wrong with that approach. That's the way it got to be at work now, So, and I'm not downing it. I want to make sure people are clear. I'm not downing that approach. It's just times are changing, and some of us are used to one way to do it, and others are used to another. And I'm here to tell y'all, both ways, as long as it gets the job done, it's effective. We all have our preferences, but don't let that cloud the situation. Now, does one get more results than the other? That's where the debate can come in. Does one way get more results than the other? That's where the debate comes in. And both sides, I can see a compelling argument. Therefore, I kind of stay away from it because it is what it is. All right, let's keep it going.
For me, my leadership role on this team hasn't changed. Just be myself. And what more can you ask?
During this offseason, after you've had to come back from multiple injuries in the past, do you feel all the fresh sense of being able to put a little extra on throws? Do you feel that?
I don't feel any of that at all. I think the most important thing is timing with these guys. These guys are going to get there. You just lay it up to a spot for them, and I have them go get it. So that's what we've been working on throughout this voluntary veterans minicamp, and I think we've done a good job. We had a lot of fun today.
By the coaching change?
Was I surprised by the coaching change with when they hired Mike?
Ryan and then hired.
Well, I would say I have no comment towards any of that. Just because I don't come up with those decisions. I don't make those decisions. So no comment.
Tua, there was a lot said about
PC answer.
Flo's relationship. What would you consider you and Flo's relationship?
Big question. That's a big question, huh? Well, I'll tell you this. I'm very thankful that he he drafted me to come here to play for the Miami Dolphins. That's what I'd say.
Therefore, so in other words, let me translate for Tua, as I oftenly do. I'm glad that he drafted me if he was the one that wanted to draft me. And outside of that, beep, 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 beep. That dude is a beep, beep, beep. Without even going any further, that's pretty much what it is. He did not have a great relationship with Flo. But at the same token, I think it had more to do with what Flo wanted him to be versus Flo accepting what he was. I think it's as simple as that. Flo trying to pressure him to be something that he wasn't and resenting him for not. See, it's that relationship stuff. Just like a man and a woman. You can't change nobody, man. Stop trying. And then you start resenting them when they don't change. Let people be them. That's what it came down to, in my opinion. Opinion.
So I remember I think sometime after the Tennessee game, you said that you were going to try to find somewhere cold to throw and practice for those kind of situations. Were you able to do that this offseason?
Yeah, I went up to Maryland.
Nice.
I went up to see my brother. Got to throw there for some time. And it was actually snowing in Maryland when I went up there. So
some cold throws.
Do that. Huh?
Crab cakes.
Oh, no, I didn't get no crab cakes. Yeah, I didn't get no crab cakes.
What was the experience like for you throwing in the snow? I don't know how often you've ever had to.
I don't know. It to me, in the snow, it was a lot. I don't know. For some reason, it was a lot. It was a lot easier. Might have been a lot better to throw in the snow. Whereas if it's just cold and windy,
the cold wind and rain.
Up for some reason, and it just.
We got another ad.
Do you put your pets first? Hey, well, search for the most pet-friendly rentals anywhere.
All right, here we go.
I don't know what the science behind that. If you guys can get that, that'd be amazing. But I don't know what that was. So
I heard on the Audible or Dolphins podcast. I'm sorry if I called it the wrong name. You talked about 6 offensive coordinators, 6 offenses since Alabama. How has that impacted your development or ability to learn offenses? Obviously, because 6 offenses probably have 6 different languages.
Yeah. Really, you just get used to studying, and you just get comfortable studying. That's all it is. Get comfortable with the verbiage. Get comfortable with where everyone needs to go. For me, I like to draw it up when I can say it. So I'll say it. I'll draw it up where everyone goes, and then I'll have my brother, my dad, someone test me, quiz me on it, and then from there, then I'll go outside, in the backyard, and then I'll move my dad or my brother or whoever's out there, my mom sometimes, I'll move them, telling them, hey, you're the Z now, or you're the X, or you're the Y, just so I can picture it better. And so when we do come out here, it's a lot easier when guys do ask, hey, where do I go and what do I run? So
kinesthetic all day. He just described what a kinesthetic person will do. Not only when they see it, they'll even write it themselves to verify what they saw. Then they'll go out and execute it physically. Like I remember when I first started this channel, I can read an article and I can hit live and I won't remember what was on the article. So what would I do? I'll read the article and write all the fine-tuned points. But when I write it, now I don't need to look at it because I remembered it because I wrote it. Kinesthetic people. This is how they operate. It's so interesting to hear him literally detailing all of the characteristics. And then he said he got his parents out there playing the receiver position. This is fun. This is crazy to me. So he's learning the system. You know what I think he benefited from at Alabama? Sitting behind Jalen Hurts. I think he truly benefited for sitting behind Jalen Hurts. It's starting to make me realize that he would have benefited even more had he sat his rookie year, but only if we ran the same system. But I don't think that would have mattered because they still limited the system regardless. But him sitting behind Jalen Hurts allowed him the time necessary to learn the system. Because I don't think as a true freshman or whatever coming in, he was just going to bam from day one. Retain everything. But like he said, you just got to keep studying. Just study. Let's see here. Somebody just sent me a message, said, didn't Tannehill face the same thing of 3 different offensive coordinators and playbooks his first 3 seasons? Yeah, I mean, I'm not comparing people right now, though. I'm not using that as an excuse. I know what you mean because people out here using it as an excuse. He said 6 coordinators. Some of them was in Alabama. They ain't got nothing to do with the NFL. He's had 3 in the NFL now, but a lot of players have. Some of them only have 1 because they execute the one accurately. And this is what people need to understand as well. Had he taken advantage of even the things that he could have did better, we may have been just fine and not have fired some people. People got fired because they couldn't get him to execute. It wasn't just solely because of the system. A lot of it had to do with the fact that he came up short in his execution, and they're held responsible to it. So it is what it is. All right, let me give me a second. TD, you're not paid millions to remember 70, 80 plays. You would think differently if so. Who are you talking about? I don't know. Are you talking about me or Tua? It's his job to remember the plays. Me, yeah, I think I wouldn't think differently. You need to remember the plays. I don't get what your comment is. Let's see here. All right, let's keep it going, man. Let's keep it going. It's almost over.
Like having your family in your backyard and having them line up and run plays.
I tell you what, they enjoy it. They really enjoy it.
That's what's up, though.
I guess my parents they really enjoy it. My brother, it's one of those things where like, hey, like how many more do we have? But my parents,
See,
they do everything.
He's going over that whole playbook, man. He's trying to all right, let me take a break. I gotta say this. See, this is the type of stuff that you do love about Tua. The type of stuff that you root for him to succeed. But this is also the type of stuff that get people delusional, like the Tuaneers, why they drool and pray to him every night. This is the type of stuff. And I get it, because why would you want to see this kid fail? He's putting in the work. He has such a great base. He has a great family. They out there working on it with him. They're like, how much more we got to do? He out there trying, man. He's trying to be the best version of himself he can be. He's truly trying to be the best version. He's trying to become our franchise quarterback. See, that's the area that I appreciate from him, and I want to see him succeed. And it's almost unfortunate that I also have to just be honest and tell the truth about him too. You know, it reminds you of when you watch Hard Knocks and you hear a kid's story, but you know they on the bubble and you really like them and you want to see them make the team. And if they do, you're real happy for them. But if they don't, you're like, man, but I hope he gets picked up by somebody. That's kind of the feeling for me, because I have to be honest. That coach that got to tell that young kid and he know his whole story, you didn't make the team. It sucks. And that's how I kind of feel. I got to tell you where he struggles and where he's not doing well. And a lot of people don't like that because they want him to succeed so bad. They don't want anything negative in the atmosphere because They want him pushed over the top. Even if he falls short, just give him the shot. It's something special about him. You just got to give him the shot. It's the Tebow effect. It's the Tebow effect. Even if he ain't living up to him, he's so great that he deserves the shot. That's how people felt about Tebow. He's such a great guy, you know, rounded in his religion. He deserves for God to show that he belongs here. Man, I always tell people, when you bring the religion into it, you don't know what God's plan is for somebody. And that be us and our humanly selves assuming, you know, that just because it would be a miracle, whatever. But that's the thing, man. You want to see the kids succeed. You want them to put the work in, and you want it to work out. Dylan says, see, that's what I like about you, TD. It's all real stuff. You want the best, but you got to prove yourself. Yeah, man, and it is what it is, man. And that's why I'm happy that they did get a lot of weapons to take some off of his plate, which will bring a lot of attention off of him. You know, throw a screen pass. If it goes for 20 because of Tyreek's skill, it makes you look good as a result regardless. And I'm glad that they did that for him. I just get nervous whenever I do think of it realistically. How long can that last? You ain't going to always have this team forever. You ain't going to always have this team. So let me see. Let me put this up. All right, but yeah, man, let's keep going. I just love hearing that him and his family, see, he's so rooted in his family, and it's honestly a beautiful thing. You want the kid to succeed. But at the end of the day, as a Dolphin fan, team over player, let me evaluate it for what it is. Y'all think, man, I just want to be able to say that he's truly balling without pulling people's strings just to make him feel good because he was close and I'm going to give him the nod. No, I want to truly feel like y'all don't understand. I want people to be like, told you, TD, you were wrong. Oh my God, it's such a beautiful feeling because that means Tua's our guy. He's our guy. But I promised myself ever since Tannehill, ain't not another quarterback in Miami gonna get it. It was actually the transition of Tannehill Rosen. I learned ain't none of them getting credit until they earn it. I'm gonna be extra critical because that's what it takes at the quarterback position. They can fool you. They can come in and ball out like Herbert the rookie year and look like a bum for the rest of their career. We've seen it. So I'm very critical. So when I know that you the dude, I'll know that you the dude, and I will praise you from that day forward. But until then, let's continue listening.
Everything that they can to help me succeed. So they don't mind at all.
And what do you think his addition will mean, stabilizing the offensive line and for you specifically?
Yeah, I think with Teron Armstead being here, you know, his leadership, you know, him being a veteran in the league, him knowing it's
my bad, guys.
Have him in our
No, it's
I think
fine.
It's good.
Just 10 minutes
For yourself in year 3.
Y'all bear with my bad, y'all.
And as much games,
let me back this up.
He hasn't been
My
out to
wife was
practice,
asking me some
yet.
stuff.
But yeah, just him being around the building, he's a really nice person, a really good person.
You can't invite the head coach to hang out.
You can. This one you can. Yeah, no, this one you can.
We see it's different. He's that cool. Like you guys.
Yeah, no, he's that cool. Yeah.
What's it been like working with Coach Bevel? You haven't really had a quarterbacks coach who's had so much experience and worked with so many fantastic, amazing quarterbacks.
Yeah. I didn't know that Coach Bevel coached Brett Favre, coached Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. I mean, those aren't some small
a lot of
names.
people.
Those are, big time guys. It's a privilege, to have him in our quarterback room. Have Teddy in our quarterback room, and then also Dan sitting in our quarterback room as well. A lot of knowledge there. So being able to pick all of their brains and hearing what they have to say, I think it's good.
What's your expectation for yourself in year 3?
Help our team win games, and as much games as we can. Yep.
So outside of working on your game this summer, what are your plans between now and the start of training camp? What are you going to do away from football?
Away from football? Golf. Probably golf. That's it.
How's your golf game?
It's all right. It's all right. The best I shot was at 81. Anyone in here shot at 81? No lessons though. No lessons. I never.
Hold on, y'all. It wasn't that much more on the interview, y'all. It was pretty much that's what it was. Don't wanna. Oh Lord, not to say golf. Sounds like a hostage. Anyway, man, I'm gonna end it right there on that one. Listen, at the end of the day, Tua has a lot of work that he got to get done. I think right now the number one focus is just simply playbook retention. Outside of that, man, I love what we heard today. I'm gonna go live tomorrow as well because I want to break down some more things, the long term of this team, the type of system that we're going to be running and what it means, because we have to talk about what he was saying with the yards after the catch with the offense. I think that's going to be a very important conversation. Right now I'm about to go hang out with the wife, but I will see y'all soon. Love y'all so much. Appreciate y'all. I got to get up out of here. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out, though. Y'all need to stop, man. Going at the kid like that. At the end of the day, he's gonna have to be our savior. All right, he's gonna have to be our savior. But anyway, man, good night. Love y'all. I will see y'all soon. Peace. I am out.